We are the one, the light in the dark. One heart, one world, one spark. We are the one, together we rise. One dream, one voice, one sky.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Empowered Across the World. And this is our podcast. And I have some amazing hosts on with me today. I have Megan Deers from South Africa. I have Jackie Zaccoli from Arizona, but her heart is global. And myself, I'm Carol Witt, and I'm global. And then we have Chinere from California, and she is in Africa too. And we have an amazing guest today, somebody that's going to inspire you. And really and truly, guys, please share these stories with people. Please get it out so people will be able to, wow, just take on the power of women all over the world. Okay, so Sharon, come and share your story with us.
Oh, thank you. I feel, first of all, it's so exciting to see the passion that you ladies have, particularly for women. I've been as I was saying, I've been a financial planner for 20 years and in the industry for 40 years. So I've walked a long journey in the financial services industry. I was born in the UK, in the south of England. I'm one of 5 children, the oldest. I have a twin and then 3 brothers. And I had a lovely childhood in England, but we came out to South Africa in the mid-70s. So my adult life has been here in South Africa. And I've come to an incredibly diverse country where we live in a culture that has a community that is very aware of financial planning and the importance of taking care of themselves financially. But we also have a culture here that is not as aware or that struggle financially. So as my practice has evolved, I started corporate and spent many years there thinking that gave me enough information to be a fantastic financial planner and go out and share the knowledge. But I realized that a lot of the knowledge is just technical. And we've got with a very technical background, you yourself perhaps understand that those legalities and technicalities are important to know, but somehow imparting them to people just wasn't really getting there. I wasn't getting the message across to the ladies or to clients. And then realizing that a coaching approach has become more and more my style of planning, because each lady is different. Each lady has gone through different circumstances. Each one has their own story to tell, and in their story, it becomes more powerful in knowing how to guide them. I'm a survivor of domestic abuse from many years ago, and that in itself, because in realizing my own journey, I realized how independent and individual everybody else's journey actually is. I've walked away with nothing and had to start all over again. I've had to start financially again, emotionally again, to sort out my own thoughts around walking away with nothing. And because I've made that journey, as I come across people that have a similar requirement, I've learned how to walk a road with them. So I think that is why a coaching approach is more important. I think it's why it's a very individual approach is very important. But to get the message of financial literacy and the importance across to women that possibly would not hear it any other way, just to teach them the basics of money, to understand why they feel the way they do about it. It's a very taboo subject. A lot of a lot of people don't, there's certain things people don't like to talk about. Money is one of them.
Mhm.
Sharing where you sit financially is an incredibly intimidating position to be in. So I like to give a safe environment where they can share, where it takes care of them, and then walk that journey with them.
Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So does anybody have questions for Sharon?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Yes.
I do. Sharon, I think having lived the experience of domestic violence, and then walking away with nothing, and then being able to realize that this is a way that you can help other women. I'm of African descent, and you living in South Africa, you know that most of these women, they feel the sense of pride, and it's always difficult for them to share, and especially when finances are involved. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the African women are trapped into some of these abusive marriages because of financial obligation. So I really applaud you for taking that approach, because when you can show them that you've walked their walk, it's more impactful. So tell me, how do you open up that conversation with them? How do you get them to actually trust you, to be able to open up and then not only share their intimate beliefs or from the part of hurt? How do you get them to open up to you to be able to help them in the financial aspect of it?
That is a very good question, and I spend I might spend quite a lot of time with somebody before they actually get to the point where they are ready to open up. I do think that my personality and my gentle approach does offer them. I don't think I've really struggled to get somebody to open up. And I think it might just be that I am that person that comes across as this is this is your safe place. This is an easy place for a conversation. I don't necessarily immediately put it out there that that I come from a place of domestic abuse. But at the end of the day, if that's what it takes, then that's what I would put out there. It's not my it's not my go-to immediate approach, because not every woman that steps into my office has come from that kind of background. I've got some wonderful, strong, independent clients that have been with me for 20 years. But yeah, a conversation with somebody new, it's a conversation. I start with a conversation, and as we build that trust, then so they might step into explaining their situation. I generally try and start from a place of trying to asking them, are you willing to share your situation, your financial situation with me, so that I can then go and put some kind of idea into place, because it's individual for everybody. It is a matter of understanding them and their situation, and it's different. So one person's journey is not going to be somebody else's. But I haven't struggled to build that trust. I've been very fortunate.
You're in the right place.
Thank you. I feel that.
You're in the right
Yeah.
place. Absolutely. Okay, who else has a question? Okay, Jackie, go ahead.
So how is it that you physically, I'm a logistics person. I need to have the chronology in my brain so that I can move through it. So logistically, you give talks or you do this, you create some sort of a workshop, or what are the vehicles that you use to get people to talk to you?
All right. I am generally a one-on-one person, but when I say one-on-one, it can either be face-to-face or with this kind of format. So I'm comfortable chatting to people over Zoom. At the end of the day, because my financial planning practice as itself is very much legislated in South Africa. So I don't have the advantage of necessarily being able to create financial plans for women outside of the geographics of South Africa. But coaching is slightly different, because at the end of the day, coaching is a more generalized approach to money, things like how to budget, how to become debt free, and those are very almost generic. They're generic no matter what country one lives in. So that I would do with this kind of format, Zoom and chat to them. But again, but very much one-on-one. I haven't done groups, but it's not something that I'd be against doing. I certainly would put something together if it was necessary.
So you market some sort of an event, or how do they literally come to you? I mean, it's not just osmosis.
A lot of it is referrals. I've been in
Word of mouth.
it is word of mouth. I've been in the business for 40 years, so it's a lot of it is word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, especially since you are so individualized one-on-one. You're a cookie cutter person. So
Yeah, no, yeah,
they would want to refer you. I got that. Totally got that. Wow. I really want to thank you for the service that you do for women.
Thank you.
I really want to thank you for that.
Mm.
You know, there aren't that many people out there that do that. And I just want to thank you for how you saw the need and you stepped up. I'm always about championing people that step up when they've seen a need. And that's where you come from. You saw a need, and you were that person in need.
I was that person.
I got it.
I was that person, and I think that's why it makes a difference. I mean, even being a woman with my own business,
yes,
I understand some of my clients, as I say, it's not always about domestic abuse. It's not always about people that are struggling financially. It's about people that, women, they might not be struggling, but they might still need a sense of understanding of what is important in terms of their finances and how to look after it and to guide them. Very individual. Financial planning, I mean, there's a growing number of women that are entering the industry, because historically it's been a very male-dominated industry. Certainly when I started, there were very few women, and more it's exciting to see that there are women advisors, that the industry is growing with the number of women out there. And we have a completely different approach. I think we've got a gentler approach. And that's important for some of the people out there. I tend to, my approach suits the ladies that need a little bit of time, and that the journey isn't rushed. It's discussions, and it's and just spend a bit of time with them. That's really all it is. They want to be heard. They want to be heard.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Megan, you have a question. Go ahead.
Thank you. So Sharon, thank you. So good to have you here sharing your story with us and celebrating your courage for sure as a domestic abuse survivor, because we need to hear those stories in particular. But what I also think Sharon might have forgotten about or did not mention earlier is that I met Sharon networking. So she does network, And I know the word of mouth factor for her is a big part of it. That was how I came across Sharon in her space initially, and it was a good few years ago. But also, Sharon, for me as an entrepreneur and a woman that has been in corporate and then, trying to make a living as a freelancer, etc., it's always been a challenge, and financially, just getting that financial foundation to be strong and sturdy and actually feeling like you are in control of your finances and your financial growth and education, certainly. And for me, I think one of the big turnarounds was when I attended a seminar about a year and a half ago. And the presenter actually opened up saying that if you think of money in a particular way, that is what guides your reaction, your responses, your spending, your thoughts, your manifestations, everything around
Very
money,
much so. Mm.
right? And
Mm.
she took us through a process for a couple of hours, and then she said to us, how about you just thinking of money as energy, right? And for me, that just landed. It was just after spending that couple of hours just listening to the way she approached things, etc. It was an eye-opener for me, because we traditionally, and I think I'm not sure if it's the same, Carol and Jackie and Chi-Chi, in your spaces, where in South Africa, certainly, we get told all the time from a very young age, money doesn't grow on trees. Money's hard to come to. And everything is focused on money, right? But it's all very negative. And so we never have that opportunity to have the discussion as an entrepreneur. And what I've started doing to overcome that in space, when I meet a new collab partner, in my first meeting, we go through all the niceties and we discuss the possibilities, and I bring up money and I go, so, right, both of us in business, both of us need to be making money. How do we see that working? And I've gotten to that point where whether or not there is money to be exchanged, or if it's an energy exchange agreement, whatever, we put the conversation on the table, because like Sharon, you said earlier, it's taboo. Nobody wants to bring the topic up. Nobody wants to be the first one to say, but I need to get paid for this. And I think that's a really big part of the educational part of this process, the big part of the education of, in particular, women who have been kept out of the financial decision-making processes, certainly in Africa for a lot of the time. So,
Agree.
yeah. So I just want to ask you, around all of this, Sharon, I know it's been a lot, but around this, what is your number one message to someone who's feeling, if I had a handle on my finances, I could A, leave that abusive marriage, B, I could stand on my own feet and support myself and my kids, perhaps. What's that number one starter message you would give them? Just like, look in this place and start there.
Okay. I like what you said there, and fascinating that you should say that money, to see money as energy. I have never quite thought of it that way, but one of the things that for me is that money is a simple exchange system.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, yes, you need money. You need money to exchange for something, whatever that is, whether it's expertise, whether it's money for future income, but that is all it is. It's an exchange system, and also in a conversation with somebody and understanding how do they see money, what is it to them, and how to get back to the basics of understanding that it's an exchange system.
Yes.
So in terms of when you are, and you're right, the conversations and how we grow up, money wasn't brought on, was it? Money
Does
doesn't
not
grow
grow on
on
a
trees.
tree.
Lovely. Money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah. And so you're right, that there is very much a foundation of your response to money and what it is, and and that's possibly where it might come from.
Yeah.
So my initial conversation would always be to try and understand, how do they see it? People growing up in different countries or different times, different eras, will have completely different thoughts around money. I mean, the younger generation here in South Africa at the moment have never experienced real inflation. They don't understand. I mean, we haven't had high inflation here in this country for 20 years.
Yeah.
Our young people don't know what it's like. We go back 30 years, 40 years, and we've understood a completely different environment in terms of inflation rates and how they work. And without getting that technical, one starts to understand, who am I having the conversation with? Am I having it with somebody who understands inflation? Because when I speak to young people and they say, and I ask, are you worried about inflation? They don't know what it is. Not really. So that I think my go-to initially would be, first of all, understanding where they are coming from, and then trying to get it really back to basics in understanding what money is. And why are they not? Because we can put as many financial plans together as we like. We can, no matter how many people I see, I can put a technical plan together for them, which I know in my heart is a direction that they should be taking. But then trying to understand, why are they not actioning it? Why are they not? Because I know that it's solid and that it makes sense, but they're not putting it into action. And that's where the conversation of understanding them and where they're coming from is, that we actually get to where that plan is actioned. And it's like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So starting with whatever is most impactful. I generally start with what keeps you awake at night. Let's start with what keeps you awake, because for one person, it's going to be different than from someone else.
That's the question.
Yeah. Because that's the starting point. If you've got children, you might be worried about your children. If you have a business, you might be worried about your business. So it's going to be different for everybody. Yeah, but that generally is my starting point. What keeps you awake? And let's work towards that you start sleeping at night. That also builds trust, because then there's action into something that is important to them, that's keeping them awake. And then the next step and the next step and the next step, and take it from there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Sharon, I have a question for you. So, you spoke about young people and money. What would you tell? Because we have an audience that are young, don't understand inflation. What would you tell young women inside of their finances right now? Young, 20, 19, 18, they're just starting out. What could you tell them that would give them kind of a edge up that maybe we didn't have? What could you tell them?
I think I would say to them that the advantage that they have, that they might not have worked out yet, is the very fact that they are young. Because time on their side is, particularly with investing, putting small amounts of money away. It's not about how much, it's how long you leave it there for. It's about how long it's invested for. And so just tucking it away and leaving it, that compounding over time is one of the miracles that they have on their side, which because as a generation, we weren't taught that. I wasn't taught that. I myself wasn't taught, put money away. I mean, we come out of a generation that didn't save properly. Previous generations did, and then all of a sudden we enter this generation of nobody was putting money away. And that time is the biggest advantage that they have. It's the miracle that they must take advantage of.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. we weren't told to do that when we were
Mm,
young, 18, 19
mm,
years old. We didn't
mm.
think anything around that. And
Exactly.
what a
Yeah,
better place we would have been in if we had been. So
without a
thank you.
doubt.
Thank you for sharing that. And I hope young people everywhere, young women
Mhm.
everywhere listen to that. I really do.
I
Okay.
really do
Does
too.
anybody else have more questions, or we're going to go ahead and end our podcast today? Any other questions? Jackie,
Uh,
of course.
Well, the basic one that I always ask,
Yeah.
and that is, what's your need? What do you need right now?
What is my need?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, wow, that's a lovely question. Thank you for asking that. I think my need is I want to be able to, my voice needs to be heard. And I, I know that might not feel like a need, but it is for me because the message, and I'm sure it's the same for all of you, the tremendous messages that we have isn't being heard loud enough or to enough people or
Yeah.
being actioned quickly enough. So yeah, that for me is, and even if it is just one person at a time, I want to get my message out there. I want to help people, even if it's just one person at a time.
Beautiful.
It's
Really.
wonderful. I just want to say, like Megan, money does not grow on tree is an adage that we are very much used to. And what I would like to say is that getting your voice out there, as an African woman, a lot of them are very much financially sound, but it's being able to have that mindset to put away money for themselves, in case of emergencies and all of that, is a key part that I would really like to hear you stay on and emphasize on. Because when we have that knowledge, money doesn't grow on trees. What it does for all of us is that when we get it, we don't always know how to save it, but being able to save it would always protect us for unforeseen circumstances. So your voice
Absolutely.
will
I
be
so
heard.
agree with you. Yeah, thank you. No, I so agree with you there. It really is critical. I often say to the ladies, because a lot of them feel that their financial stability might lie with their partner.
Mhm.
And I always say, build your own financial security. You can always have the advantage of sharing it with your family or sharing it with your spouse or your loved ones. But at the end of the day, if the need arises and you yourself need it, it doesn't help if you've relied on somebody else to build your own financial strength. You have to build it for yourself and then share it. That nobody's saying it's always about women walking away on their own. That's it. That's not everybody's journey. Some people just need to know to build it for themselves in case, but share it with those that they love and share it with their families if needs must. So I agree with you. I
Oh,
agree with you.
beautiful. Thank you so
Mm,
much, Sharon, for coming
thank
and
you.
sharing your story with all of us and hopefully with many, many more.
Thank you.
Guys, yeah, thank you so much for how you champion women and their
Thank you very much. Been such a privilege sharing this stage with you. You ladies are amazing. Well done. Well done to you ladies.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
All
right,
right.
so guys, if you love these episodes, we have them every Mondays and Fridays. Please, please join our channel. Subscribe to us so you can get many more of these episodes. And I put them in a playlist so you can go back and watch all of them in a playlist. Please, if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, please reach out to one of us. We're all over LinkedIn and social media. Reach out to one of us and let us know you'd like to be a guest and like to share your story so you can be heard. That's what this platform's all about, is women being heard. Okay? And guys, let's thrive together. Let's not do this by ourselves. Let's not go alone. Let's thrive together. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
One we stand.